IT job, literally. I was working like help desk, kind of desktop support, working for Albert while I was in school. And I was like waiting tables at night and things like that. And after that, after I got the 3 certifications, I went and applied for a job. I don't remember what company it was, but I went to apply for a job at Fort Billboard, working for the Network Enterprise Center. I was applying for a help desk job through like being a government contractor, which is like, the jobs are like a million of them in this area. Went and applied for the job. They offered me, instead of the help desk job, they offered me a junior network engineer job. So the network engineer is where I was trying to go, taking Cisco classes and trying to take that track. So I got that job, worked there for about, so I was still taking a Cisco class here, working at Fort Billboard. I was able to get me a secret clearance when I got that job. But that job was paying maybe about 50-something thousand. Still wasn't comfortable with what I was making at Verizon, but it was a start to get me to where I wanted to go. After that, my 3rd month there working as a network engineer, with the experience, the CCNA, and just get going in there, learning everything I could from those people who've been here forever. They were a very staggering group. We were supporting pretty much all the Army customers, so like Missile Defense Agency, we were working with the Pentagon, working with all these different government entities, just doing network support, Cisco routers, kind of environment. They upgraded me, I became a mid-level network engineer. That was probably about $45,000 more in the salary, like as we jumped from one place to another. Went on from there to work on various government contracts. I worked for Joint Strike Fighter in Crystal City, had 35 airplanes, warplanes. Worked there. That's well, I actually got my top secret clearance before I left there. Went on from there to work, because government contracting is always like, it depends where politics goes. So if this person gets elected and this state has this money, or this program is funded this money, they'll have more money, this program will expand, things like that. So it's always a lot of give and take. Sometimes you're getting a project that you might need for 3 years. Sometimes you're getting a project that might be 3 months. So, you know, that's another thing that's important about keeping your skills aligned keeping your skills and certifications aligned together. So of course, just working on things at work, you'll learn, pick up new skills and stuff like that. One thing that I have learned, I'm skipping all around, like, one thing I have learned as far as work, everything that I do at work, I automatically update my resume. So like, in my drawer right now, in my desk, there's like a resume that I have printed out, and it's just, I just did this new project, implemented a system there. So like, things like that will keep your resume aligned with your skill set, and then of course, seeking the certification that goes with it will keep everything like that, keep you in the job market. So after the Joint Strike Fighter, I went on to work for XM, Export Import Bank of the United States. Is one of the kind of like Treasury. I was just doing kind of like IT support there all around. Kind of like dealt with some help desk, did networking, did service there. Just it was a small temporary contract. Left there, went to work for House of Representatives, went to work for Congress there. That was probably the worst IT job I've ever had because I was manual labor. That's why I left Verizon. And they were like, "Can you pick this server up and take it to that building?" And there wasn't no cart or nothing. And I'm like, "It's, you know, Capitol Hill was built as a hill, so that was horrible." So, and it was like crazy. So I left there, and I'm where I am currently now. I've been there since the fall of last year. I've been at Uber, the driving app. Everyone's familiar with that. Uber is like the best company ever to work for. The work-life balance gets a little out of control sometimes, but as far as how much they pay and the way they take care of their employees, with as far as like rides and like he was saying about the other company, we have catered lunch every day. I mean, it's about so people can be collaborative and be creative at work. There's rooms where you can literally sleep. They're private rooms. So I think they're meant for praying, but that's what I do. I don't really have the hammock in it. I sleep there like at least for an hour a day just to like refresh. Like after lunch, of course. And I'm still real cheap. Like how much money I make, I'm real cheap. So like I pack my lunch. I take the lunch from there, and I usually eat for dinner. It's catered, and we literally like we're trying to find a way to give it out to homes and stuff like that. But this is like a 4-star restaurant. They cater the lunch every day. It's a different thing than you every day. It's whatever. Actually, it was pretty cool how they did it. Like they sent out this survey, like pick your favorite foods, pick your allergens, and like literally it creates a menu to that. And if it's something that day that affects your allergies, I'm like food is food. I don't care what it is, like. But they'll like bring you something else, and they'll have your name on instead of you being in the catered lunch. So like different perks like that was different from me going from work for the government to work in private industry. My first day of work starting for Uber, I started in San Francisco. Like literally first. Hadn't met anybody, went through 9 interviews online over the phone, My first day of work, they were like, so it was like Wednesday, and I was still working up on Capitol Hill. They were like, we want you to start on Monday, and I'm like, sure. You know, I'm starting in DC. I'm like, sure. Let me give these guys like 5 minutes notice. Then they were like, you want to start in San Francisco, and I'm not the type of people without a job, so I literally didn't quit. I called in sick Monday and Tuesday for that Capitol Hill job, just so I could get to San Francisco and see how I like it first. So I worked there for a week or so, and came back here. I've been working in DC. I'm a network engineer, a senior network engineer now. I work for Uber. I work on a build-out team. We're building remote offices all around the world. So people think Uber is just an app. Uber is like a whole entire corporation. Literally, we have thousands and thousands of employees, some contractors, some full employees. But pretty much if there's a city that has Uber, we most likely have an office there. So I'm building our offices all around the United States, all around the world. Bulgaria. I did Johannesburg, South Africa last week. So we use remote. We use Cisco Meraki. Cisco acquired Meraki, which is a pretty cool cloud networking. I've never done cloud networking. Everything for the government is hardwired together for security purposes as well. So it's kind of cool how a router that I've never seen, a switch I've never seen, wireless access points I've never seen, they literally order them from a company and you really configure them before they ever plugged up. As soon as they're plugged up and you have internet connection to reach out, they reach back to the server and it loads all the configs there. So we can pre-configure anything, send it wherever, hire a local company, someone to come in literally. So like plug this here. All right, don't touch anything. Let everything load up, and let's start to get our offices up for operation. Some of the offices, large offices, we actually physically, especially depending on how close they are, depending on what they need, we'll go there. So I was just in New York for 2 weeks, opened up a new office in New York, all the snow and the storm and Fashion Week and All-Star Weekend. So we had a pretty good time. They put you in a nice hotel, and you know, so they treat you really well. So, but in my time, I would say one thing about the way the school here is run different, because I've taken classes at many places. My job is sent me to take classes at different places. Some of them don't end up in certification. Some of them are just training. Some of them are like certifications you like don't even feel like getting because you'll never be able to use them anyway. But here, the great thing is, it's not just, because anybody can literally go online and pay $120 and get all the questions and answers. And you can learn and memorize them. And you can get the certification, you go already on and do it. But if you don't learn how to do the job, literally, like, there are people who we hire who have all these certifications who have no idea, like, what to do when it comes to perform the role. So the good thing about here is you learn, like, literally how to get the certification, and you also learn how to actually start at day one. So I was able to go in at day one, and I've never done help desk or any kind of support like that for, like, I work on enterprise level network. Full Billboard has 70,000 users. You know, like, we're like Army, we have 70,000 users. I was able to go in there on the first day and still have a mindset. Like, for instance, like, it was just one day I was like, oh, let me show you all Remedy. Like, loaded up a CD, it was like, this is how you open the ticket, this is how you do this. So my first day, I was like, oh man, I've seen Remedy before. And they was like, if you never worked in government, you've never seen it. But like, you know, just small things like that is something like ticketing systems, working on help desk or any kind of place, you have them like that. But it's nothing rambling on. Y'all have any questions? Anything y'all can ask?
Well, I'll ask. A question a lot of people ask sometimes is, well, what was that person's background before? Because a lot of people feel like, oh, I don't have the background, so the success stories of people you're talking about don't really relate to what my experience is like. So what was your background? Did you have IT jobs before you came here? Were you an IT professional? Did you go to classes before IT-related stuff?
I've taken computer classes, small computer classes, never had a certification before I came here. I worked in Verizon, so I was on telecom, I trained them. A couple of things, the DSL training, fiber optics right before we left Verizon. But just really like telecom and just having your own personal interest. If you don't have a personal interest, if you're not vested into what you want to do, I mean, I won't say you won't be successful, but it depends what you define successful. If you want to make $50,000, you can go and make $100,000, but you won't continually be able to hold that job and hold that, because there'll always be somebody who's going to be able to compete with you. So there'll always be somebody who's younger than you, who has more time than you, who don't have any kids, who don't have any time commitments. So it's not that you have to put 1 million hours, you just have to be vested into what you do. So yeah, you do have to like literally keep up, even if your job's not there yet on a certain technology. Just, you know, like reading technology magazines. It's something I've done in the last couple of years to expound on my own career. And I started going to expos. It comes from an IT background. I just had an interest. Any questions from anybody about it? I can ask anything.
Ask him some questions because he has to go test.
Yeah, come on. Y'all have any questions? Like, what class are you all taking now? What class is this?
Plus.
Network Plus. Okay, Network Plus is a great avenue into getting networking. Any job you have, networking is going to be involved. So just knowing like as far as IPN different devices, even if you work on a help desk, if you work on servers, especially if you work in networking, of course, no matter what route you take, if you work in security, it's going to be involved in networking. Like you need to know like this kind of network cable versus this kind of network cable. You need to know different connectors. You need to know, especially like IPN. No matter what you run IT, you want to have the IP devices. I mean, everything runs off the IP address. If you get that far already. Come on now. Any questions?
When you started your first job, what certifications did you have?
A+, Net+, and Security Plus is what I had first day of work.
Okay. Approximately how many months does that take?
I don't know. We about to run it as fast as a track.
We did it at the same pace we're doing it now. I mean, 2 6-week classes.
Yeah.
So,
6-week classes.
12 weeks.
It took me a couple months. It took me a couple months to get the certifications, but after I got I was finished my certifications like December, January-ish, kind of finished classes the year before, and I started working in like literally like March, and literally most of the time was me getting this clearance to start working.
Okay, 12 weeks is pretty good. That's how long it takes for people to just start getting in shape.
Yeah. So
12 weeks, you can. That's good.
But I mean, it takes a lot of. It's not just like coming to class. It takes like a lot of prep outside of class as well. So I mean, you got to be serious about what you want to do.
What were the kind of things that they asked you about in your interview?
I'm a king interview at this point. Some of the things they ask you in the interview when you go into like an entry level position, they're trying to figure out like literally what you know that's goes toward the job. So really, you should study the job description or what they're asking for inside and out. And then you need to look at the other. Every time I apply for a job, I look at the job description and I look at the position ahead of that. Because they're looking for someone to progressively move to another position, or you want to show that you can progressively move. I never try to go into a job that's like, this is it. I'm gonna be here forever. Because I'm like always getting better, always trying to do better. So they will actually, like I remember when I went for the job, it was just a help desk job. So they were asking things like, do you know, they were actually open-ended questions. What do you know about IPv4? And you're like, oh, okay, I know IPv4. I know, like, oh, I know how to subnet, I know how to do this. And sometimes I've been on interviews where they'll be like, all right, well, tell me more. Or like, I went on an interview for the Census Bureau, for a job with the Census Bureau, and they were like, how do you configure a device? I'm like, what device? Like, what are you talking about? Like, they're like, just tell me how you configure the device. They're just trying to see, can you effectively explain to somebody? And you have someone who is from HR there, you have someone who is the IT director, and you use that the person whose job you're taking or who runs the team where you are. So you probably have somebody who's most of the time the person whose job you're taking, they're already like, you gotta be better than me to get here. And I'm thinking like, once you get on a job, you're like, man, you some trash. Like, you wasn't even, like, when I was first looking for a Beltway join the team, this is one of my really great friends. Now we're like really good friends. He still works there. He's like way above. He was the junior. He was the junior for a year and a half. So I came in 3 months and became mid-level. We were on the same level in 3 months. And, I remember he was like, giving me a hard time when I first got there, but then when you seen like, the way we were able to work together, I kind of just went into the position and started picking up their work. Like, my thing is, I was working more hours, and the job was salary, which is a hard thing coming from getting paid hourly, like all this overtime and things not really getting paid for. But I was paying myself in experience, stuff that you can't get. So being able to senior level work with 1 year into IT is an opportunity you may never get. Some places you go, it's like, this is your job, you stick in your job. Don't touch anybody else's work. But they were cool to handle work. Like, okay, go to this meeting for me. Go here, go there. And I'm like, okay, well, project management, I did this, and I ordered these services. I know how to
I would love that.
So things like that. Just invest in yourself.
Okay, great. So what was your starting salary when you started that first job?
51 maybe. I don't know. It was 2010, 11, so 51. So I haven't even been out that long. I've been literally 4 years, maybe a little bit more than that. Depends who you ask. It has to be great. Something has to be the incentive to keep you there. You become marketable. You know your work.
I got one other question. I don't want to get too personal, but do you make over 6 figures now?
Yes. Yeah. But see, the thing is about salary, I tell people, like, the salary will come and go. It's about what's marketable then. So you working on, if you have a certification in a product that's like top notch and other people don't have it yet, you'll make a lot of money. But as it gets popular, it's like, Your job won't need you to do it anymore. There'll be a computer to do it for you. You know, so like actually like physical configuring and networking, it's going to pretty much probably vanish in the next couple of years because there's cloud networking done. Like no, you don't need someone sitting there in that office. Like literally, you need local people to be able to plug into the device with a console cable and reconfigure the device. But if we can put everything on the network, and you can have half of the people, because you just need everyone to sit in one office and do it, you know, and be anywhere around the world. So IT is always evolving. So I've never say ever chased a dollar. I mean, we all know how much it takes to feed our family. My family doesn't need $100,000 to be fed, you know. So we know what it takes to feed our family. You know where you want to be. You know what you want to do. You know everyone has their own different goals as far as retirement and salary. But I don't believe it's about chasing a dollar. And it was hard to transition to that from rapping. Because the thing is, like, how many overtime? Can I get the holidays? Can I get the triple pay? Like, you know, like, that was the goal.
Guys, one more question, because you got to go take a test.
If I feel it says something to all you all. Like, I was studying hard, too. I was studying hard over there.
All right, we're good? All right. Thanks, man.
I'll read you my contact info, man. You can still get on my email address.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
As usual.
Man. I'll get over with you. I wish you luck, man. Y'all safe.